Hello, fairy tale things, and welcome back to my swamp where we collect all things Shrek and, yes, celebrate the holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Ramadan. Ramadan doesn't even happen till next February, but I'm going to wish you a happy Ramadan anyways, because I want everyone to have a wonderful holiday season. You see, it's that lovely time of year where the weather is absolutely miserable and horrific, and none of us can go outside, so we stay indoors and watch cartoons. So really, it's just like every other season of the year. But this is the time of the year when most people who actually don't like cartoons decide to actually watch cartoons. These people are not you and me. Usually it's the classic Rankin Bass holiday specials, which will always hold a special place in my heart. But in 2007, DreamWorks decided to give Shrek a piece of the action and introduce a primetime Christmas special for the Shrek franchise called Shrek the Halls. And I'll be honest, it's nothing really to write home about. Even a Shrek diehard like me has to admit that Shrek the Halls is not spectacular. Not terrible, but also not amazing. But it does live on as a primetime Christmas special that is still aired every year alongside the Rankin Bass specials. Even more impressive when you realize that Shrek the Halls predates Prep and Landing and all of the modern holiday specials that came afterwards. There's a Trolls special by DreamWorks. I think there's an Olaf Frozen special. There's a lot of primetime Christmas specials. But when Shrek the Halls came out in 2007, I remember this being a big deal. My family gathered around like this was an event, and it really was an event. The idea of a new Christmas special airing primetime was pretty much unheard of. There was Olive the Other Reindeer back in 2000, but sadly that flopped, despite I personally think it's amazing, but it didn't do that well, and it was shifted to daytime hours. And that's usually what happens, is these specials would say, like, the next Christmas classic, and then they wouldn't do that well, and they would shift them to Cartoon Network, which would have all these gems during the daytime that I would watch as a kid. But Shrek the Halls didn't get that fate. Shrek the Halls is still aired primetime to this day on cable television, and it still is treated as a prestige Christmas special, for lack of a better word. But DreamWorks succeeded. They got Shrek in with the holiday lineup, and with that came the cavalcade of merchandise that Shrek is always known for. There have been Shrek Christmas items produced every year since Shrek the Halls premiered. Actually, you might be surprised to learn that the phrase Shrek the Halls even predates the special itself. It was used for marketing when they tried to sell the original Shrek VHS and DVD as a gift during the holidays. So how about that? That phrase has really stuck around a long time. But when Shrek the Halls first aired in 2007, DreamWorks had a lot of Christmas product ready, including a Happy Meal promotion at McDonald's. Now, what I think is so funny about this promotion is that while it clearly was meant to tie in with Shrek the Halls, the toys were advertised as a tie-in with the DVD release of Shrek the Third. This must have been some brilliant marketing strategy by DreamWorks. I mean, think about it. You're only going to make money from the commercials of Shrek the Halls, but a Shrek the Third DVD, now that's going to become a hot Christmas commodity right there. I guess that's just something Shrek fans will have to debate from now until the end of time. Are these Shrek the Third toys, or are these Shrek the Halls toys? What I do know is this. McDonald's released a pretty incredible lineup of Shrek Happy Meal toys in the latter half of the 2000s. And what's awesome about these toys is they're all compatible. And when you display them all together, you get a pretty decently sized collection of the Far, Far Away gang. But this Christmas set here is different. This was really ground zero of chibification of pop culture characters. These predate pop vinyl, but they do share a lot in common with them. Actually, these toys have a lot more in common with the type of products released today than when they released back in the 2000s. There's some pretty interesting toys, and while I see a lot of people online reminiscing about the mini Shrek Kids Meals released throughout the years, I feel like this is the forgotten stepchild of the Shrek Happy Meal saga. I never see anyone talk about these toys, and why I actually think they're a pretty solid and great lineup of Shrek figures for your collection. So today, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to flip the camera around, and we're going to take a close look at these fairy tale figures, and why I actually think they deserve a spot in either your Shrek collection or heck, maybe along your stockings by the fireplace. So I'm actually going to start with Pinocchio, who's labeled as 8 here. He was the last one released, and fittingly enough, he was the last one I got from my collection. I had a lot of trouble finding Pinocchio for some reason. And yes, I know I could just buy these things off of eBay for a couple bucks, but I love the thrill of finding these out in the wild. So every one you see today will be something I found at a thrift store or a flea market. Found this whole set in the wild. And I always like to have one of these sealed to show you what they looked like when you got them. And this one just happens to still be bagged. So we can see the Shrek the Third royal crest logo here. As we know, Shrek the Third really played into the Shrek is gonna be king branding and thing, even though he wasn't really king for a whole lot in the movie. The merchandise really loved this angle. But what's interesting is that while we have the traditional Shrek the Third branding, complete with a blurb to get you to buy it on DVD. But we also have this neat little border with pieces of mistletoe and holly. I think that's mistletoe and holly. God, I sure hope I'm right. If not, it's something Christmassy, okay? So again, like, it's so odd they didn't just say Shrek the Halls. Why not promote the TV special? But they may not have known Shrek the Halls was going to be ready yet. What you'll notice across all of these figures is that they are Christmas-themed Shrek figures, but they don't line up with the outfits of the characters seen in Shrek the Halls. I'll talk about that more when we get to the characters that have Shrek the Halls designs, but let's just open this right up and take a look at Pinocchio. Alright, so here is our not-so-real boy. Comes in a bag inside a bag. God, the amount of plastic they used to use on these Happy Meals is crazy. I feel like now the Happy Meals are really tiny. Although one thing I do like is they now come in cardboard boxes, so, you know, you're not wasting as much plastic, and it's a little easier to open. These bags are surprisingly thick. Okay, so Pinocchio has been decapitated, which is funny, and you'll see why in a moment. Because these are not just little plastic figures, they actually have some exciting action features. See, the Pinocchio here shoots out these little cards that can also be played with as a game. Wait, so those are cards and game, and what is all this, Austin? Let me explain. What we have here is a very stylized take on Pinocchio. Again, very similar to a Funko Pop vinyl, but these were actually from 2007. I actually remember the chibi take on the characters being something seen as premium at the time. You were really only seeing figures like this come from Japan, and they were expensive imports from companies like Medicom and Hot Toys, who were doing like Star Wars characters as chibi. It was just seen as something completely new and fresh. I know that's weird to think of because this looks like everything sold at Five Below today for pennies on the dollar. But I'm telling you, there was an actual point where a chibi version of a character, a figure that wasn't super accurate to what you see on screen, was actually a novelty. What's amazing is this is so early in the Funko craze, they have not given in to the horrible design trends that Funko would establish. The lack of mouth, sometimes the lack of even nose or eyes. I mean, some of these vinyl figures are so cursed and weird looking. This one, on the other hand, made of plastic, not vinyl, by the way, but this plastic figure that's trying to emulate those vinyl designer figures, I think it does a more effective job than most collector toys today. It's a really effective take on Pinocchio. I mean, look at the detail, look at the wooden texture in his skin. The colors are so bright, they just pop on camera, and they pop on a shelf too. This is one of those sets that has real shelf presence. One of my favorite words to say is shelf presence, because when you collect Shrek, you like the bright and colorful characters, and this is one of those sets that really, like, you know, it ups the color and brightness on them, and I love that. But these aren't just cool figures, they actually have a little bit of an action feature. So each one of these features a removable head, and inside are going to be trivia cards from the Shrek franchise. Now, I'll be honest, I would love to read every one of these trivia cards, but that would make this video like 2 hours, so we're just going to go through a few of them. Starting with, what is the name of the inn where the king meets Puss in Boots? I'll give you 1 second. It's the Poison Apple. Yep. Okay, now it's time for hard mode with Austin the Brimstone. What is the name of the inn where the king meets Puss in Boots after it's rebranded in Shrek Forever After? Yes, in Shrek Forever After, we actually see the Poison Apple rebranded as a Chuck E. Cheese-like place for kids. And it is called the Candy Apple. But you didn't know that. Who is Shrek and Donkey trying to rescue from the castle in Shrek? I think it might be Fiona. Ding ding, it is Fiona. See, a lot of these are for kids. They're very simple. What does King Harold turn into in Shrek 2? He turns into a better person. And also a frog. I'm going to quickly just go through these. I'm so sorry I cannot read every one. Maybe we'll look at them in some YouTube shorts. This one's interesting. True or false? Artie has red hair like Fiona. False. He's a blondie. But that would have been interesting, actually, if they'd given him red hair. They should have done that, because he is related to Fiona. So then you have these trivia cards, right? And they also can be used to mix and match and create your own dastardly Shrek creations. Like, you can take King Harold's head and... oh my, whose body is this? This is the real trivia question. I believe that's Sleeping Beauty's body. We can double check, though. Yeah, this is Beauty, right? Yeah, technically her name is Aurora, but that's owned by the Walt Disney Company. So they just call her Beauty in Shrek the Third. So we can mix and match these. And look at that. And there's a lot of trivia questions, because these have backsides, too. So you can see even more trivia. True or false, Lord Farquaad is a very tall man. Technically, it's true when he's wearing those knight legs at the end of the first movie. That is a trick question, McDonald's. You have tricked us. Okay, so you have the trivia cards. They have questions on them, and you can mix and match them. And you can even, for some unexplainable reason, turn Pinocchio into a cannon. He always wanted to be a cannon. It was his dream. And now he can be a cannon where he launches out the cards. So there's a lot of strange action features built into these toys. If they had done these today, they would just be little figures that didn't do anything. And they'd be about that big. Because that's the direction Happy Meals have gone. Let's just say it, they're really sad. DreamWorks knew how to not play around with Happy Meals, and they made some pretty good stuff. So let's get all the trivia cards in here. And something that's really nice about these toys is that even when I buy them used, like Puss in Boots here, they still have some of the cards in them. You know, you're not going to find full sets, but kids did keep a lot of cards. In this case, the kid kept just the Puss in Boots set and kept it in Puss in Boots. And Puss in Boots is literally in a boot, or more accurately, a holiday stocking you would hang above the fireplace. But you don't want to keep Puss too close to that fire, because then we'd have a burnt kitty, and we do not want that. So this is a fantastic sculpt for Puss in Boots. Honestly, this is one of the best sculpts we have ever seen for Puss in Boots in the entire Shrek toy range. It's a really good head sculpt. I only wish he had the rest of his body. But by being in a stocking, we have a very cute holiday figure that makes for a great holiday decoration. And I bet you a lot of people just kept these with their Christmas decorations because they're really cute. Although I will say I would have loved a figure of Puss in Boots in his Santa outfit from Shrek the Halls. And this is where this line kind of hits up against a wall. See, while these toys did come out when Shrek the Halls was beginning to air on TV, they are not specifically based on the outfits from Shrek the Halls. For example, Puss in Boots has a pretty snazzy Santa costume in Shrek the Halls, which we do not see here in toy form. Now, the reason for this is pretty obvious. Toys are designed up to 2 years before a movie or TV special releases, and when they were designing these toys, they probably had not finalized Shrek the Halls yet, so they didn't know what Puss in Boots was going to wear in that. They probably also didn't even know when Shrek the Halls was going to air on TV, which might explain why these toys are branded to Shrek the Third's DVD release and not tied to Shrek the Halls. Still, though, I think it should have featured like a blurb for Shrek the Halls, but what the heck. When I was making this video, I had a little bit of a Mandela effect because I could have sworn that Shrek the Halls actually aired in 2009 and not 2007. Well, it turns out the reason I got confused is because in 2009, Shrek the Halls actually received its own kids meal at Carl's Jr. with its own Christmas-themed toys, and these are actually themed to Shrek the Halls. Why did they come out 2 years later? Good question. My guess is, again, these things take time, and they just wouldn't have had toys ready for the original release of Shrek the Halls. So yes, there is an actual Shrek the Halls kids meal line. It was released at Carl's Jr., and you know what? Maybe one of these holiday seasons I will do a dedicated video on it. Yeah, if you want, I'll make it. But today I decided to keep the focus just on these because I think they're really neat figures. For example, here is Fergus the baby. Yes, this is Fergus because he's bald. He is the bald one. Farkle, the other boy in Shrek's family, has hair. It's pretty easy to mix them up, though. Both Fergus and Farkle have brown eyes. Felicia has blue eyes, but she's also a lady, so, it's a little easier to tell them apart. And here we have Fergus popping out of a present. Isn't that cute? And inside we have some more trivia cards. Let's do another question. Why did the blind mice bite Shrek's ear? I don't know. Why did he? He thought it was cheese. Oh, okay. I was thinking this was like a joke. But this isn't a joke. This is actually in the movie. This is in Shrek 1, when the mice are climbing up in Shrek's table, when all the fairy tale creatures invade. He goes, something along the lines of, it's a far cry from the farm, but it'll work. Okay, I want another question. This is fun. Who says, "Fear me if you dare" in Shrek 2? Gee, I wonder if it's Puss in Boots. It's Puss in Boots. Who wears cherry-flavored lip gloss in Shrek 2? Oh, the answer to that is actually Charming. He goes, cherry-flavored. Do you like it? When he said the royal ball with Fiona, I bet a lot of kids messed that one up, because that's kind of a trick question there. It feels like Godmother would have it, because she has visible lipstick on throughout the movie. But so does Charming. If you look closely enough, his lips are shiny. They're nice and luscious cherry lips of Prince Charming. That guy, Prince Charming, he makes me hotter than July. Okay, so here is Princess Fiona, and they've given her some lovely holiday accents on her dress. Look at that. We have some holly and mistletoe. Again, I hope it's holly and mistletoe. It's these little holiday plants. They are on her dress. Again, it's not specific to Shrek the Halls. I would have loved to have seen a figure of Fiona in her heavy snow jacket and her funny big hat she wears in Shrek the Halls. Remember that outfit? It'll be on screen if you don't remember. But I would love a toy of that Fiona outfit, because it's never had any merchandise. I don't believe so. But this is a unique look. Hey, they could have just made it generic Fiona, but no, they actually gave us some holiday details. Another thing that's interesting is if you look at the shape of the dress here, look at the trim. This is clearly the Shrek the Third blue dress, also known as her maternity dress, because she is pregos when she's wearing it. But they have colored it green, like her dresses in Shrek 1, Shrek 2, and Shrek 4. Fiona has a lot of different green dresses throughout the movie, so most Fiona merchandise will just give her some variation on the green dress. But this is the first time I've ever seen the blue dress painted to be green. That's pretty neat. Oh, and the head sculpt on this is also really fantastic. Again, one of the better sculpts we've seen of Fiona. I'll say that a lot during this video, but these really are some of the best representations of the characters we've seen. Another interesting thing about this Fiona head sculpt is that she is lacking her crown. Some Fiona merchandise is missing the crown, because she doesn't really wear the crown around her house. For instance, in the opening of Shrek 4, she isn't wearing the crown, and heck, Shrek the Halls, she's not wearing the crown. So this is a holiday at-home Fiona. Very relaxed, probably just chilling at her swamp house, watching old Christmas cartoons. Maybe Fiona likes all of the other reindeer. A woman of good taste, right? Okay, so let's take a look at her trivia questions. Where does Gingy say the Muffin Man lives? The Muffin Man? The one who lives on Drury Lane? I do know him. I do know that Muffin Man. How many sons do Shrek and Fiona have in Shrek the Third? 2. 2, yep. What does Gingy get dunked into in Shrek? Milk. He gets dunked into milk. How many siblings does Fiona have? What? How many siblings does Fiona have? None. I mean, we don't know. She could have some lost sibling. That's a trick question, because it's not something that's ever discussed in canon. What is the ugly stepsister's name? Oh, Doris. We love you, Doris. That's a good stopping point there. You know, a Doris figure on this line would have been great. I'm still waiting for more Doris merch. Come on, Shrek people, give us Doris toys. Okay, so I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break here at the halfway point, because I just looked off camera at my pile of trash I have made, and I have realized I forgot about the stickers. You see, since I got most of these used, these stickers have fallen off over the years, likely due to a combination of French fry grease and that terrible thing called time and age. But since Pinocchio was new here, he actually does come with these stickers, although there is no guide on how to apply them. And I'll be honest, I detest stickers in fast food toys. They don't stay on. But for your amusement, I will now apply them. The background's yellow, so I'm going to use my context clues to assume that this goes on his hat. Yes, just like this. Here we go. Oh my god, this is so hard to do when you're looking through a camera. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough, guys. And we're going to do the back one, too. This is not going to be an artist at work here. This is going to be pretty rough. Can I connect it? Almost. Kind of. Yeah, I did a pretty bad job. But, you know, from a distance, who can tell, right? So Pinocchio is now looking extra festive. So now every one of these characters has a unique holiday-themed thing about them. And so will the other four we look at. So let's go ahead and move these guys to the back here so that we can focus on Donkey, the red-nosed donkey, for lack of a better term. So here is Donkey, and once more, Donkey does not look like the version we see in Shrek the Halls. You'll recall that in Shrek the Halls, Donkey passes out Christmas cards, and he wears his funny little Santa outfit on the card. He also wears this little mail jacket when he's delivering the cards. Both of those would have made for neat figures, but instead we get an original concept, Donkey as Rudolph. And the artist that designed this did a fantastic job. And then if you look at the DVD of Shrek the Halls, which came out after the Christmas special, much later. They waited another holiday season to release it. Donkey does have reindeer ears, although he is missing the little red ornament nose, which this toy did decide to give us. And man, look at the fur detail on this donkey. You know, he's a chunky little boy. His proportions are very wrong, but I think it's very cute. But man, the colors on this donkey, they're actually better than almost all of the donkey toys. You know what? Actually, I'll be right back. I gotta prove my point here. So, this is the McFarlane Toys donkey, and it is widely considered to be the best donkey figure we ever got from the Shrek franchise. This is a really fantastic toy. But if you look at the colors, he's much darker than he should be. They didn't get it right. Yet this McDonald's toy right here actually perfected Donkey's colors from the movie. It looks better. I mean, that's crazy to say, but this toy looks more like Donkey. It's pure witchcraft, I tell you. And then another comparison I want to make, since I did get up and look at the collection, is the pop vinyls. I mentioned pop vinyls multiple times, and you can see the different attempts at stylizing Donkey here. Now, these both are very different toys, but keep in mind that one of these cost $13 at Hot Topic, and the other one was free with your McDonald's food. And call me crazy, but I actually think the McDonald's versions are much better than what Funko did. Both of these toys were designed by artists with the attempt of creating a chibi version, and I think both artists did a valiant job given what I assume are the heavy restrictions and oversight that billion-dollar characters like these come with. They both did a great job, but I'm so sorry, the McDonald's designer just did a better job, simply put. This is a great figure. This is a good figure, but this is a great figure. And while we're at it, let's compare some of the other ones we've had here. Now, Pinocchio and Farkle do not have pops, but Fiona does, so we can compare Fiona, and you can see where Funko took the route of making Fiona in her human form, which it honestly seems to be the more common version of Fiona we get with merchandise. More often than not, we get just the human form, but McDonald's decided to give us the Ogress version, so that's interesting. Maybe sometime in the near future, Funko will give us an Ogress Fiona Funko Pop, but until then, this is all we got. So yeah, this is more of an apples to oranges comparison. That doesn't really check out. And then we'll do Puss in Boots. I did say that I really liked this Puss in Boots sculpt. However, this is actually going to be a case where Funko gets the upper hand. Yes, I do actually really enjoy the pop vinyl that Funko did for Puss in Boots, and it's probably because they actually gave him a mouth and features you don't usually see on a Funko Pop. He is very expressive. I think, in the wise words of Miguel and Julio, both is good, right? But I do enjoy the Funko one a little more. And while we're at it, let's include the variant Funko did, where Puss in Boots is strangely monochromatic, but I don't care. I love this version too. This one actually, in my eyes, is a little better because they give him a little bit more of a snout up there with detail, and it just makes the character pop a little more. It also reminds me a little bit of Last Wish with that art style, but there's an interesting comparison. See, I don't totally dislike the Funko figures. There are instances where Funko has the better toy. But again, I'm just very impressed by these McDonald's figures and what they were able to do in 2007 before the Funko takeover of the toy world really happened. Okay, so we have a couple more left here. Let's continue on with Dragons, since we did do Donkey. And Dragon's inclusion here is honestly a welcome surprise, because Dragon did not have a lot of representation in the kids' meal toy world of Shrek. She had a few kids' meals over the years, but McDonald's actually only ever made one other dragon, this one here, for Shrek Forever After. And if you don't recognize this toy, it's because she wasn't released in the United States. This was a extra figure only released in, I believe, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and maybe Canada? Question mark? Maybe Canada? I honestly don't know about that. I just know a lot of countries got this dragon, but not the United States. I was pleasantly surprised to find her for the Shrek collection, but I actually really like this one. I think this is a really good figure of Dragon. One of the things that makes Dragon interesting to collect is her scale. She's a lot bigger than the other Shrek characters. So what happens is you either have Dragon figures that are so big they tower over the rest of your Shrek collection, like the classic McFarlane Dragon, or what they often do is they shrink Dragon down. And when they shrink Dragon down, you lose a lot of the detail on the face. She's got a tiny head relative to her big body and belly here. So often you have a dragon that's got a big sculpted body and then a little head. But with the chibi style here, it actually benefits Dragon because we get a dragon that can be displayed with all the other characters and highlights her, well, her honestly rather beautiful face. Look at the lipstick, the eyelashes, and the scales. Again, this is one of the best sculpts we've ever seen for Dragon. And she's got a cute little Christmas wreath wrapped around her neck. This is a home run figure. She's fun, she's Christmassy, she has a lot of detail, and she allows you to display something in your Shrek collection that you wouldn't get with any other scale. And as a matter of fact, if you're a big Donkey Dragon shipper, and why aren't you, because they're one of the best couples in all of animated Hollywood, these are some of the only Dragon and Donkey toys over the years that allow you to have them kiss at height, because they're not in scale with each other usually. Donkey is a lot smaller than Dragon, but here you can actually have them kiss in scale. Look at that. Wow. Donkey actually probably prefers Dragon when she's big, though. He likes big butts, and he cannot lie. It's in the movie, people. Okay, we have two more left, and boom, Shrek. There he is. There's Shrek himself. So here is our Shrek, and as far as Shreks go, it's a pretty good Shrek. It's nothing amazing, it's nothing to write home about, but I do enjoy the detailed head sculpt. I actually like his little Pac-Man eyes here with the little cuts in them. It's not often we see that. Usually they do give Shrek his correct brown eye color, but in this case, I like that they went for solid because it actually gives us something a little different. And then obviously he's got a Santa hat, which would be used for tons of promotional material for Shrek the Halls over the years. As a matter of fact, I have both Shrek the Halls DVDs here, and they both feature Shrek with a Santa hat. So technically this figure is canon to Shrek the Halls, although again, I would have much preferred a figure of Ogre Claus that's depicted in Shrek the Halls. Now that would have been great, although technically Ogre Claus is implied to be a different character than Shrek. He is not Shrek, he is Ogre Claus. Come on, people, aren't you a believer? I know I'm a believer. Hey, have they ever made that? Like, as a short? Like, has there ever been a piece of merchandise of Shrek as Santa, and it says, I'm a believer? That's brilliant. I just thought of that. That's low-key brilliant. That has to exist somewhere. Please let me know in the comments how I can get that for my Shrek collection. What piece of Shrek merchandise features Shrek as Santa and says the phrase, I'm a believer, from the famous song from the Monkees and later Smash Mouth. I must have it, because it's too perfect not to exist. Some Universal Park had to have sold that. So, anyways, here's Shrek. He's not perfect. This one has a little bit of, like, fumbling with the paint. For some reason, the green on his hands is rubbing off into his tunic. What's up with that? What's going on there, Shrek? You're bleeding like a Sharpie marker. But still, it's a cute figure of Shrek. And hey, it's been a little while since we've done some trivia, so let's do some Christmas Shrek trivia. Okay, what is written on Fiona's wedding ring? Oh, this is, wow, this actually has the brimstone stumped. This is the beginning of Shrek 2, during the Lord of the Rings reference. They show the inscription on the ring for like a second, and guys, I'm having a total brain fart right now. I can't remember what it is. Does it just say like happily ever after? Just something really simple like that? True love? I love you. Well, that's cliche. Yep, I love you. Well, there you go. And now for our grand finale. Okay, so do you remember how I mentioned that each of these figures can be transformed into a cannon for some strange reason? Well, part of that fun is the fact that they can be mixed and matched. Yes, like the cards themselves, which can create some abominations. Oh my god. We can create our own life out of these figures. So, where do we want to begin? Well, I think the present here is nice and cute, and I think Shrek's head would look really good on a present. He looks like a skibbity toilet. It's a skibbity Shrek, guys. This is it, skibbity Shrek. This is how I win over the YouTube algorithm and get millions of views. Skibbity Shrek. Skibbity Shrek. I'm just gonna keep saying it so the algorithm will hear me. This is Skibbity Shrek. Okay, now that leaves us with a baby head and a Shrek body. You can guess where I'm going with this. He's like, I'm a man now, Shrek, and you are the boy, Skibbity Shrek. Hello, I'm Fergus. I'm a man now. Don't ask why I have 4 arms. I'm related to the Grimace. The old Grimace. The one with 4 arms. Okay, this is amazing. This is so great. These are great. Okay, let's make another one. I think I want to make a Fiona-saurus. Yes. Yes, let's make a Fiona-saurus. Okay. Do that. Alright, yes. Yes, this, my friends, is evolution, as they say. If the dinosaurs wanted to live, this is what they needed to become. And then we create, oh my god, a bodacious babe. Look at her. She's so dreamy. Yes. Yes, I love my creation. Okay, that leaves the cookie, the boy, and the donkey. What fun will we have here? Well, Donkey's head is facing forward, so I'm almost wondering how that's gonna look if he gets placed on, say, Pinocchio's body. Let's test this out. Oh yeah, he's gonna be looking to the side. That doesn't really work. What about on Gingy? Yeah, this just looks kind of, well, dumb. So why not keep Donkey the way he is? Because it would be funny if Donkey stayed the same. And then we create Boy Cookie and Cookie Boy. Boy Cookie and Cookie Boy. And then we're going to take a look at my lovely creations here. Get these cards out of the way. Okay, so Skibbity Shrek. Fergus is a man now. Fiona-saurus. Dragon Babe. Just Donkey. Cookie Boy. And Boy Cookie. Or maybe they were both. I don't remember what I said 3 seconds ago. All you will remember are these designs, because these characters are actually coming back. In your nightmares. Tonight, when you go to bed and have nightmares, you will see all of these characters. All of your fabulous friends here. Okay, so that is the perfect way to wrap up what I think is a perfect holiday present for the season in these fun Shrek Christmas toys. Call them the Shrek the Halls set, call them the Shrek the Third DVD set, I don't know. Whatever they are, they were a gift from McDonald's, and really the best holiday gift of all, because I do really love these toys, and I think they are super fun. So, we'll close off with this. Let me know in the comments what Shrek toys you would love to get this holiday season. I already have the greatest gift of all, and that's knowing that Fiona-saurus now exists in my life. Okay, thank you for watching, and from the merry swamp with its halls Shreked, have a happily ever after. A huge special thanks to everyone that makes this channel possible, including Griffin Newman, M, Jidjip, Jamie, Don Tizzle, Aaron, Pizza Topping, Boa Usta, Bonzario, Shotgun Justice, Jay Bipper, SMO3, Tucker Time, Antonio Bocina, Pladley, The Luke Rosati, Artyom, Sailor Laws, J. Florence Jones, and Telephone Wire. Consider becoming a member if you'd like to see your name up here for only 99 cents a month. But a huge special thanks to everyone for watching this video all the way until the end.